So we're going to kick in then.
Yeah, so basically he's just going to say what he needs to say and then throw it over to us.
Right, the video's only been like 5 minutes, haven't they?
Have they?
Something like that.
They've only been 5 minutes?
No, 7 minutes.
Right, okay.
Right, you just start breathing now. Just start breathing.
I am breathing.
Yeah. Come on, professional.
Greetings once again, beloved friends, the consciousness of Anu. You are all here to experience separation, to experience what it is like to be a unique, special individual in your own right. Each and every one of you has your own special blend of magic. And you all, every one of you, sees through your own individual lens. You have your own individual perspective. This is what has caused problems for many of you, but is also very dynamic and very magical. And is it not a truly amazing experience at times to find and connect with somebody who sees through a similar lens to yourself? Does that not make you feel more connected? Vibrate at a faster frequency? Because a collective mind is more powerful at times, is it not? If it enables you to feel good, to feel positive, and to feel alive, and to feel joy. So everybody who's watching these communications is going to be watching these communications through their own lens, their own perspective, their own focus. Some of you will be focusing entirely upon the words that I'm speaking, intrigued by the information that I am here to impart. But to many of you, this whole experience may be a little overwhelming and hard to digest or understand what is actually occurring here in the process of Anu communicating through a physical being, a physical form. So in this last presentation, we'd like to answer the questions that may actually be in your mind while you're watching this. How this communication is occurring, what is happening here, and also the impact this has not only on my friend but on the consciousness, the fact that this is possible. And as consciousness evolves, will become much more prevalent in your world. So now for this part of our communication, I'm going to allow my friend to answer your questions. Thank you. This has been a wonderful adventure, and it will be the beginning of a whole new path opening up, a whole new platform opening up for myself, but also for anyone who wishes to share this journey of education, teaching, evolution, integration, and experience. So we will speak again. Thank you, dear friends.
You okay? You okay?
Yes, yes.
Is really triggered my mind there, because it's come to the point that I have pondered many of these questions myself, but now is giving me the forum to ask ask the questions for you.
Okay.
So I have always been intrigued, as you know, of certain things, logical mind and curiosity.
Yeah.
When and how did this communication with Anu start?
Right. This communication with Anu actually started going back into 2013. That's how long.
That long ago?
I've been with him now, yes. And it came forward. What was happening was, because I do spiritual readings, so I'm shifting my consciousness and my frequency on a daily basis. So I believe what was happening was I was doing lots of readings on this daily basis. I was shifting myself, going higher and higher and higher, and it created a gateway for him to start to get in and to integrate. But obviously when he first came to me, he wasn't integrated at all. So it was, I will admit, it was a little bit scary at the time.
Did you know did he introduce himself or anything?
Yes, he did. He introduced himself as Anu. I didn't know anything about Anu or aliens when he did first come to me, so it actually blew my mind. I thought it was all very weird and very strange, but I trusted the process. I trusted my spirit guide, so I just kind of went along with it.
So when you came through, is it like a, you know, when you think and you think in a language, did he just come into your head?
Yes, it was just in my head, and it was just this voice saying, I'm Anu. But it wasn't just the voice, sorry, because that just makes it sound like it was a simple process, and it really wasn't a simple process. It was a few years to fully integrate him, and that was a really challenging process. So when he first started coming, my body had to go through a massive transition to be able to connect with him, which involved, as people might see in the videos, like my head shaking, but the head shaking to a very aggressive level did make me quite poorly. I did feel like I was losing my mind. So it wasn't just a case of him just popping in saying I'm Anu. It was, there's a strange energy here, don't know what's going on. My guides, my spirit guides, were just kind of saying trust this process, and it was my own ascension process. So the level of information that was coming in at that time, it was really exciting. At the same time as traumatic, it was exciting because it was like my head was popping, and I was starting to see and realise that this reality has been fabricated and it wasn't the truth. I was getting all these downloads and all this information. I was like, whoa. And so it was a huge awakening on so many levels. So I could feel myself going higher and becoming less dense in my thoughts and in my energy. I was just becoming less and less dense. I was just becoming more, just a higher energy about life. But it was incredibly challenging, yeah.
So when you go from Cherry and allow Anu in, I mean, this is going to be a question a lot of people will ask or wonder. Is it like having two people in your head? I don't know, you have to explain it. Where are you in your mind when you are channeling? You go from Cherry, which is a unique individual person, to Anu taking over your body. I can see the transition, I can see the change in your facial expression and the movement of your body, but particularly the voice. So where are you in all this? Can you interject at all? Can you, or is it just let it happen?
It's like a blending. It's like a blending of minds, a merging of minds. Right. So what he's told me is obviously we're human beings and we're in human bodies, so we communicate verbally. But in their realm, they don't have to communicate verbally. They actually communicate through their minds. They don't need language like we do.
Telepathy.
And words.
Telepathy.
Yeah, that's how they actually communicate to one another. So it's thoughts, isn't it? And communicate through thoughts. So when he's coming forward, it's like an expansion of thoughts, and it's like my thoughts, me, go into the background as if we're in a car, and I suddenly become in the passenger seat in the back of the car, and his thoughts and his consciousness starts to kind of come forward and step forward. So I'm there, I'm conscious, but not at an active conscious level.
Yes.
If I wanted to bring myself out of that, because we're blending and we're merging, he would feel that. He'd feel that in my thoughts. So he would just pull back. He's very respectful in that way. He respects that it's my mind, it's my body. And how he's learnt to communicate is he has to actually use my library of words to find the right words to communicate.
This is the language, isn't it?
This is the language, the English language. So sometimes he will be talking and he'll say something and go, hang on a minute, and I can feel him going through my mind to find a specific word that he will want to use. Gosh. That he will feel represents the meaning that he's wanting to put across. It's like going through my mind. I can feel that. That's quite interesting.
That's weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really strange. It's like looking in my memory banks or looking at experiences I've had in my life to pull something out. So he does have access to my subconscious. He is able to get into my subconscious and see things. So because being a human and translating himself into a human to feeling more what it's like for a human, the point of reference is my experiences.
Cool.
That's what he has to pull on. My experiences, my thoughts, my feelings, how I deal with things. And it's really interesting because me being a female and him having the masculine energy, that's where he's learning. He's learning.
So has he ever gone through any of your experiences and said, you shouldn't have done that, or you should have done this, or now does he even just give you the heads up about the situation?
Well, he's learned because he, and he's said this in his work quite a lot, couldn't understand why human beings would take certain choices and certain actions. As an Anunnaki, as a very logical scientific being, they didn't have an understanding why, they'd look, they'd try and like, right, you're going to go that way, you're going to do this, but we won't. We're not very predictable humans. So we'll set off to do something, but we can veer off, or our emotions will get in the way. And he was very judgmental of that at first, like, why don't you just do this or just do that? But now that he's kind of been able to integrate and see more from this emotional perspective, he's like having his light bulb moments and going, oh, now I understand. So he wouldn't be in judgment. He was in judgment. He wouldn't be in judgment now.
He's learning.
Because he's learning, and he's learning that we have this depth of emotion that will interfere with our choices at times.
And my last question is, how do you do it? Do you just instantly think, right, I want to have a chat with Anu, or when we're doing this video work now, how do you connect from the start, from thinking, yep, now, to Anu coming through?
I think it's so instinctive and natural for me to do it now. It's hard for me to objectively describe what's actually happening. So, because again, my experience of doing spiritual readings, it's quite easy for me to go into a theta state in my mind. So I'm able to slow my mind down really, really quickly. And as soon as I'm slowing my mind down, I'm going kind of back into my subconscious. And as I'm going back into my subconscious, it's opening a door from my subconscious for him to come more to the front into the consciousness. So when I'm doing that, I go into this kind of breathing, as you will see, in this breathing rhythm, and it's this very deep breathing that I'm doing that's sending me into a theta state. So I basically kind of activate it through my heart space, through my chest here, and that's how he comes in. I know that doesn't It's a hard one to explain. I'm sorry.
Unless you've experienced it, it probably is. But at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying. I'd love to feel it, and I dare say a lot of people would love to experience that at some point. But it's just the acknowledgement and understanding of how the process works, how
Yes.
you started with him, and the journey to where we're at now with it all, which is just wow.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? It's wonderful.